Hello, dear audience. Thank you so much for joining us live for this very, very special session. My name is Margareta, Program Manager at America House Chisinau, and I will moderate this session with Christina Shorik, Communication Coordinator from America House Belts. Hello, Christina.
Hi everyone. I'm very excited for this session and I'm ready.
Christmas is just around the corner, and it is a perfect timing to learn a new craft and decorate our houses with it. And our special guest for this Christmas edition is none other than Julie Anderson. Many of you have attended her workshops, participated in her quizzes and Q&As, and even met her in person when she came here in Moldova. But there is no better presentation than the one made by the person herself. Dear Julie, could you present yourself to those who do not know you?
Yes, hello to everyone in Moldova. I am so excited to be here. I am Julie Anderson. I am from West Virginia in the United States. I am a teacher. I am a mother, a wife, and I have two children, Jenny and Andy. And if you know me, you know them, or you feel like you do because I talk about them often. But I also have a little dog who actually is sitting at my feet right now, and her name is Sadie, and she's like another kid of mine. I have been to Moldova. I was trying to think how many times I've been, and I've lost track. Sometimes I've come for a week. Sometimes I've stayed 2 months. I love Moldova. And for those who were in one of my sessions this summer, you might recognize, if you were in belts, you might recognize my shirt. It is one of my favorite, and I get lots of compliments on it when I wear it. So thank you for that. I wanted to wear it so that you could see it. And we are going to do, I just told them, I said, that sounds like a show. Crafts and Treats with Julie. We are going to do a reindeer craft today, and it is really good for teachers to do. I do this with my students, and we hang them in the hall, and it's good for parents. You can do this. It's a quick, easy craft. It works on fine motor skills. We also practice the letter U, and you will see that when we do this. Do you want me to go ahead and start? Can I start? Can I just?
I will introduce the topic.
Okay.
As you probably understood, the topic for our session and the title of our craft is Rudolph's Crazy Cousins. Julie will tell us who is Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, and what is his story. Dear audience, if you have questions or want to communicate with us, please do it in the comment section. Julie, now I will let you take the reins from here, show us all the tools we will need for this craft, and let's start doing it.
Okay, so actually this summer in the sessions I did in Chisinau and in Belts, I talked about building relationships with your students. And one way that I do that sometimes is through my bracelets, my charm bracelets. And when I got ready this morning, I put these on. And as I'm sitting here, they keep hitting the table. So I'm going to take those off. And while I do, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. This was just one, I liked it. It really doesn't have any special meaning. But this one has a star on it, and it is a Make-A-Wish star. And my son was a Make-A-Wish child. He had life-threatening epilepsy until 4 years ago. He's been seizure-free for 4 years, and we thank God for that. But this is special because it does remind me of that time, and that it's a great organization. And then this one is one of my very favorite. It has a sunflower. You probably understand why I like this bracelet. If you know why I love Moldova, the sunflowers are one of the reasons. We are going to look at Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And in American culture, he is very popular. There's movies about him. There's a song about him. We have cartoons about Rudolph. We have coloring books. We have lots of activities for Rudolph. And a lot of people don't, they just think he's a cute character that was in a cartoon, but he does have an interesting story. So I will show you a picture of Rudolph, and this is actually from the movie Rudolph. You see he has a bright, shiny nose, and it glows. So he's a little different than most reindeer. Reindeer are important in our culture as far as Christmas because they pull Santa's sleigh for him to go around the world and deliver toys. So the reindeer are very important. Without those, Santa couldn't get to all of his places. So Rudolph was a little bit different. You notice he has this bright red nose, and the other reindeer wouldn't let him play with them, or they didn't want to include him in anything. And here's Santa Claus talking to Rudolph because one night Rudolph was needed, very important. He was very important this one night because there was a winter storm, there was a blizzard, and all the other reindeer could not see to guide the sleigh. But because of Rudolph's bright red nose, he was able to guide the sleigh so that Santa could get to all of the houses. So that's a cute story, but why? Where did he come from? Well, there was a man named Bob May, and he created this story for his daughter because his wife was very sick. This was in 1938. His wife was very sick and she was bedridden. And his daughter asked, he was taking care of his daughter alone because his wife was so sick. And she asked, why was her mom different than other moms? So as he was trying to think of a good answer for his 4-year-old daughter, he thought about when he was little and he was sickly and he got picked on by other kids and was called names. So he came up with a story of Rudolph that was different and that it's okay to be different. He came up with this story and he would tell her, he would add a little bit to it every night. Well, because his wife was so sick, he was exhausted and he was poor. Financially, he was exhausted, financially and physically. And he didn't have enough money to get his daughter a Christmas gift. So he was making a book, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, for her. And at his company Christmas party, he went and some of his fellow coworkers asked him to share this story. When he finished with the story, he got a standing ovation and everybody asked for a copy of the book. They all wanted the story to share with their children. So the company he worked for bought the rights to the story. And then several years later, book publishing companies wanted to publish this book. They wanted this book. But the company knew that it was Bob's story, so they gave him back the rights to the story so that he could sell them. And he became a millionaire, and the story became a song, and it became a movie that you can watch on TV. We are probably on YouTube. You could watch it, and you can listen to the song on YouTube, and we'll actually share the link after we're finished. We use Rudolph. This is what Rudolph looked like in the story, or in the movie, the original movie. This is what Rudolph looked like. We use different versions of Rudolph. He's been updated, got a little makeover from time to time. And this, I just printed this off on the computer. I Googled Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer clip art. And these were some pictures that I got. I use this one a lot in my class for like newsletters that I send home. The students really like that one because he has lights hanging from his antlers. So we talk about Rudolph in class, and we actually do a reindeer unit where we talk about, if I were a reindeer, what kind of reindeer would I be? What would I look like? They have to draw their reindeer. And We talk about where reindeer live. Do they live where we live? Could a reindeer live where we live? So we do a lot of things, a lot of creative writings. We write our own story, like what happened to Rudolph after he guided the sleigh. And first graders, I teach first grade, and a lot of first graders, when you ask them to take a picture, they like to make a silly face. And they make lots of silly faces. So one year I was making this craft with them, and we used to make Rudolph. And I changed it this one year because they kept making silly faces. And I said, do you want to make Rudolph's crazy cousin? And they said, yes. So that's what we did. So that's what we're going to do today. I will show you some examples. I have two sizes. They look similar, but they are different sizes. This is one that I would put in the hall. It's like half a sheet of paper. And then this is another one. And it's just bigger, small and big. In America, we have our traditional Christmas colors are red and green. That's why I said get red or green paper. I have had students put them on purple or blue because they just like purple or blue. That's what they tell me. But I like purple. And it's okay. Put it on that color. Green and red are just traditional colors. So to make this craft, you're going to need some white paper, red or green, whatever color, or if you want a different color, if you don't have red or green and want to put it on a different color, you can. You will need some brown paper and some black paper. And you notice I already have a hole in this. I left that so that I could show you the shape that we're going to be cutting out. So the first thing, and you're going to need glue. I've got just some rubber cement. I use a pencil to draw. I'm not good at drawing circles or cutting circles, so I've got a pencil, and I've got a marker and scissors. So we're going to start with deciding which color we want to glue them on. I'm going to use red because I just like red. I think red is a good Christmas color, so I'm going to use red. And then I'm going to put the rest of my papers over there. Let me tell you, I forgot to tell you, if I go too fast or if I talk too fast, feel free to say, whoa, stop, slow down. Because native speakers speak fast. They just do. And I do understand a little bit of Romanian. So sometimes when I'm in Moldova and they're talking really fast, I can't catch anything. But if they kind of slow down, I can catch a little bit more. So if I talk too fast, feel free to say, can you please stop, slow down? It doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me at all. Again, I am a mother and a teacher. I'm used to being interrupted. It's fine. So after we have what paper we're going to do it on, we are going to take our brown piece of paper and we are going to make a big U. Now, it depends if you have a whole sheet or if you're using half a sheet, what size you want to cut out. If you are using half a sheet, you're going to make a small U. If you're using a whole sheet, you want to make a big U. So I am going to make a big U. And if you want to use your pencil and draw that big U, you can. I don't need it. I know my letters pretty good and can cut out this shape pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a little lopsided because everybody's different. And while we do these with students, I always talk about how we're all different, and that's okay. That's what makes us so great. That's what makes the world interesting, is that we are different. And mine's a little lopsided, so I'm just going to take this. It looks like he has a little knot on his head. So I'm just going to kind of smooth that out a little bit. And I just have this little upside down U. It's not a good U because it's not The center's not cut out, but that is kind of what that looks like, that shape. And when you're finished cutting that, you are going to glue it to your background paper at the bottom. You want to put it right at the edge of the bottom so it looks like that. So I'm going to glue mine on. And I have a paper towel, so if I get glue on me, I always tell my students, if they're using real glue like in a bottle, I tell them to use bunny hops so that they don't get glue everywhere. Younger children often like to use a lot of glue, and when they press that down, it oozes out. They find it funny until it gets all over their hands. So, but then they have a good time taking it off of their hands, peeling it off of their hands. And this is a quick craft. You can make it as quick if older students, you can do it with them as well and see who has the most creative. So I have that glued to my paper. Kind of looks like a door on my paper, a big door, until we get the next part finished. I'm going to let you make sure everybody has a little time to get that on there. And next we're going to need our white paper. So if you want to get your white paper out, and we're going to fold that in half. Now, here in America, I would tell my students, fold it hot dog style. And that's because a hot dog is usually long and skinny, and hamburger is short and fat, like this. So this is a hamburger, and this is a hot dog. And I would tell my students, they'll say, do you want hot dog or hamburger? And I'll say, I want hot dog for this one. So I fold it so that we only have to cut one time. And I explain that to students, that when it's folded, you have two sides, so that when we cut once, we actually get two antlers. And that's what we're cutting now. All antlers are different. These are you might have short little stubs. It might be like a little button buck. My husband hunts. He is actually hunting today. So I know a little bit about deer. So a little button buck means they just have little tiny little antlers. And the older they get, the bigger they get. So I'm just going to make like 3. My students tell me they look like little fingers when we cut those out. So I just cut, and I don't draw these. I just start cutting. I start cutting straight up, and then I kind of veer off, and then I make like 3 little antlers. And they can be as tall or as short as you want them. Now, if my husband was here, he would say that is not what antlers look like. He's not here, though. So his opinion doesn't matter right now. And then when you finish that, when you finish cutting, you have 2 that look alike. And then I'll wait just a second for everybody to get those cut. And I will tell you, when we glue these, I always place them, and you put them right behind the head so that you don't see that bottom. I always tell my students, put them on first, because we don't want to put glue up here. And I try to tell them, don't put it up here, because then it's going to stick to your desk. We just want to put glue from like here down so that it sticks to our paper, but isn't all yucky up here. Now, do all students listen to that? No. And that's okay. We have a mess, we clean it up, and we move on. Messes happen. That's what we say in first grade. Messes happen. Sometimes they're fun, sometimes not so much. But we have 2 antlers, and you can put them on ever how you want. I'm going to glue, but we mainly glue from like here down, the bottom part, so that it's enough for them to stick, but it's not so much that we make such a mess. So I'm going to glue mine on, and I will put glue up to the red. If you even want to tuck those in behind and then put the glue on, you can. I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to leave mine on there while I glue. So I have it tucked in, then I'm just, it's not working, so I don't have enough hands. But I'm just going to put glue on this bottom part so that it doesn't get on our table. And then I'll just tuck it back in there and then press it down. That way you don't have this glue. This isn't glue and it doesn't get yucky. So there's one. Let me do that with the other. It's the same on the other side. We even have I'll have our students name their deer, and they come up with some crazy names. Sometimes we vote on which one's the funniest name, which one's not. Like, what name do we like the best? There's lots of activities that you can do with this. So I have my antlers on there, and I'll wait for you. I'll give you a few minutes. I'm trying to watch the time. If you have any questions too, feel free to ask. You can ask me anything. We say I'm an open book. That means you can ask me anything, I'll tell you. If it's too personal, I'll tell you, well, I don't really want to answer that. But honestly, I don't think there's been anything I haven't answered. So people often want to know why I love Moldova so much. I do love Moldova. Like, I really love Moldova. It's the people. It's a beautiful country. The country is absolutely gorgeous. But the people are what makes it. And they have always treated me like I belong, like I'm family. So it's just a very special place. You had another guest this summer named Bob, and he lives about 3 hours from me. Actually, we're actually pretty close. And before, the last summer was his first time in Moldova. And before he went, he had asked me some questions. So I said, you are going to love it. And since then we have talked, and he said, it really is like a hidden gem. He said, it is fantastic. I said, I told you. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have our antlers. Now we need our eyes. I'm going to take the same piece of paper. I have enough space here. If you don't have enough space, you'll need to get another piece. But I'm just going to make a circle up here. I'm going to leave my paper folded so that way I get two eyes. And I'm just going to make a circle. I do have my pencil. I'm horrible at making circles. So I'm going to draw a circle first, because if I don't, it really ends up crazy. And then I'm just going to cut out that circle. You can make them as big or as little as you want. Sometimes I make one eye smaller. Students will sometimes do that because they say it's even crazier. That's fine too. If you want to make one bigger and one smaller, you can. It's your crazy cousin. So I tell my students, this is your crazy cousin. So I think I will make one eye a little smaller. So I'm just going to take one of mine and then just go around it and make him just a little bit smaller. Might look like he's winking a little bit at us. Somebody said their reindeer is named Bob. That's funny. So then you're going to take your eyes and you can glue them. I always put mine together. Some students put them way far apart and they say he's looking both ways. You can put them on there. I put them together, and then I make his pupils looking different ways. Like he is making a silly face. So I'm just going to glue his eyes on. Earlier when I made my second reindeer, I used a little too much glue, and when I went to draw on them, that glue oozed out. So I was like a first grader earlier. So I'm trying not to use as much. I put my eyes together. I just got some of that glue off of one for the other one. So I have his eyes on there. Now my students, I would have cut out the black part of his eyes just for fine motor skills. As a teacher, I'm walking around and I'm trying to make sure everybody's on task, everybody's getting theirs done, and helping those that need help. So I'm taking an easy way out, and I'm using my marker or my crayon, and I'm going to draw in the circles. And when I make a silly face, I usually make my eyes crossed. I usually cross my eyes when I make a silly face. And I usually stick out my tongue because that's what, I don't know. That's why first graders do it. I don't know why. So I usually cross my eyes and stick out my tongue. So that's what I'm making Rudolph's crazy cousin look like. I'm going to cross his eyes. I don't cross them this well, but I try. That's all we can ask. Now I have glue oozing out on mine, so I'm having a hard time coloring right there. You know what else I love about Moldova? The food. Uh-oh, I lost you. Okay, you're back. I lost you. I don't know where you went. I love the food. I would really like some placenta. I love placenta. People always ask me, what's your favorite food? And I'm like, placenta. And they say, really? That's what you like? Yes, I love placenta. And I love Moldova's tomatoes. Moldova has some of the richest dirt in the world. And people are like, really? You're talking about our dirt? Yes, I am, because it is fantastic. And it makes some of the best tomatoes. And a friend of mine will say sometimes they have to replant when you leave because you eat so many tomatoes and cucumbers while there. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do. But I love it. So it's another thing I love. Here's mine. His eyes, man, he's really looking right at each other. Somebody has a reindeer named Lucas. Why do I like your country? Well, that's one. The people. The people are the main reason I love your country. Can you hear me? Is my mic on? Okay. I can't.
Yes,
Okay. I was
we are
just making
hearing you.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. When it went black, I was just making sure. I love the people, and I will tell you why before I go back to this. I grew up during the Cold War, and we would see pictures every time you hear about Moldova. Before the first time I came to Moldova, I had looked up pictures, and I had asked, like, what's Moldova like? Because if you're going to visit a country, you want to know what it's like. What do they eat? How should I dress? And all the pictures that I found kept saying like old Soviet Union, old Soviet Union. They were all like dark pictures. Nobody was really smiling. Nobody looked real happy. And I thought, great, I'm going to a place and these people aren't going to like me. Like, they're not going to talk to me. They looked like they just were kind of hard-hearted, if that makes sense. So the first time I was there, I'll be honest, I cried a good bit because I was so wrong about the people, and the people were so welcoming and so loving, and they treated me like family. They treat me and my daughter like family. The first time I was there for 10 days, And probably within the first 3 days, I knew I would come back and that I would be staying for a while. And within 2 years of my first visit, my daughter and I came and we stayed for 7 weeks. And we taught English. And I try to come back every year. And in 2020, when I couldn't come, that was so hard. Like that was a hard summer because me and my daughter both missed it so much. Last summer was the first time I've been without my daughter. And my daughter actually, she is in college right now. She's at the University of Kentucky. And she is a linguistics major. And it was mainly because of Moldova. Our translators are amazing, and they have become very good friends of ours. And she has studied Russian and Spanish. So she said next time we come, maybe she can talk for us.
Alina asked us, when are you planning to come back?
When am I planning to come back? Oh no. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I would love to be back. I would come tomorrow if I could. So the next thing we're going to put on our reindeer is his nose. We're not going to put his mouth. We're just going to make a big nose. So my black piece of paper is very big. It was the only black piece I had. But this is about this size nose, and it's just an oval. We're making an oval. And that's another thing about this craft. We got to talk about shapes with students. I teach younger students, so we're still working on shapes and letters and the fine motor skills. So when I say oval, they will say, we talk about what is an oval, and they'll say, oh yeah. So we just cut that out. Some of my students make a little oval and some make it very big. I make a big nose because usually we have Rudolph with a big nose, with a large nose, because it had to shine so bright to guide Santa's sleigh.
Julie, I would like to ask you, so you have been to Moldova a lot of times. Maybe you have heard about a place or a region that you have never visited, but you wish. Do you have such a place or region from our country that you would like to visit?
I have spent most of my time like in Kishinev or north. I've gone south to Cahul, but to know of a place that I would love to go that I haven't visited, I don't know. I'd like to go everywhere, to be honest. I don't know. There's lots of places, and I will say, hey, I've never been there. I should go there. So I don't know. Maybe you could suggest places that I should go, and I can maybe go and teach English or do something there.
All right, so please comment with places that Julie should visit when she comes next
Comment
time.
where I should go next. Here's his nose. I'm going to just glue it right there in the middle. Everything is backwards. Have you ever tried to do things in the mirror and it's backwards? When I'm doing live events, usually the camera is backwards, so I'm having a hard time getting it situated without looking. So there's his nose. I'll glue it on there. My daughter actually has, her and my son live together. They have an apartment in Kentucky, and they have 2 deer at their fireplace near their Christmas tree. Because we're reindeer, we use a lot of deer in our decorations. So there is my crazy cousin. I have 3 of them. And when I do this, when I hang them in the hall, I do try to get my students to do red or green. And then I will put like a red one and a green one, and then a red one and a green one. Because I'm a little, we say OCD. I like things in order and things, so I will try to make it so it looks like a nice pattern, and then we talk about a pattern. And sometimes they'll say, well, can we do 2 red and 2 green? So we talk about different patterns that way. So there's my crazy cousins. Here's my smaller one. This could be a baby cousin if you do the smaller ones. So we do, there's lots of activities that you can do with them. You can name them, and how would you spell that name? So for teachers, those are some activities. I'm actually doing this activity tomorrow for a class. A teacher that joined us this summer, she contacted me and asked me if I could do something with her class tomorrow. So I told her I was doing this today. So it will be in the morning, your time, at 8 a.m. for her class, but it'll be like 1 a.m. for me. That's okay. I don't care to get up. There is a 7-hour time difference, but I have done things with classes. So if you ever have done English, I've gotten up early to do an English lesson with classes, and I don't care to do those either. When I can't be there, because I teach, I can't come a lot during the school year, so that makes it difficult to do things with classes. I love to do things with classes. In 2018, I came and did American Revolution lessons with some high school students, and we loved that. My daughter came with me, and we loved doing that, but sometimes it's hard for me to get there during the school year, so I don't care to get up early and do some activities. So you can reach out. We can put my email address in the comments. I don't care. Everybody knows it, so I don't care to share that too. So we have our cousins here. What else? Tomorrow, if you haven't signed up for tomorrow we're going to make a Christmas treat, and I'm actually going to show you. I made it. I always make things. As teachers, we usually do things ahead of time so that we know if it's going to work, if it's not going to work, or what we need to do. So tomorrow we're going to have a Christmas treat. Today was the craft, tomorrow's the treat. And I have those. I made them to make sure. I haven't made these for a couple of years, so I wanted to remember. And we're going to make Christmas wreaths, and they're like little cookies. And here's what they look like. They're in my pan, and I don't know if I can get one out without my candy coming off, but they're just little Christmas wreaths. And a wreath is green, so we use green food coloring. If you want to participate, it's on the website, on America House Facebook page, and it has like the ingredients that you can make it with me. It's like these reindeer. It's very quick. It's a quick treat, but it does look nice and it tastes good. And there's lots of variations that you can make. If I get a chance tonight, I may make a couple more. You can even make these at like Valentine's Day and make them with red food coloring instead of green, and make them into heart shapes. So you can use like cookie cutters, and you don't have to actually get your hands so dirty or so sticky. They will be sticky, but you can do that tomorrow with us at the same time. You just need to register because it's not a Facebook Live event. It'll be on Zoom. So does anybody have any questions or anything? We'll actually share too the link to Rudolph's song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and we will share the history of the story that I was telling you about, Mr. May, and how he came up with the story for Rudolph. And we can talk about, with students, we talk about being different and how that's okay. We're all different. Nobody's the same. It'd be very boring if we were all the same. So I think we have some time left. I don't care if you have any questions or comments or anything that you want me to do. I will be glad to do it. If you want me to make another one, I can. We have plenty of time.
Somebody in the comments asked, did you know about Moldova before planning to come for the first time?
I knew of Moldova, but to know much about it, I didn't. Our church had been coming a couple of years and working um, in the orphanages before I came. And when I came, that's when I started, like, I Googled about Moldova. I got online and tried to find information about it. So I didn't know a whole lot, just what they would tell me. Um, but they weren't sharing a whole lot. Like, they didn't, I don't know. I tell everything. I take pictures of everything and I tell everybody how great it is. And when I try to get people to come, I'll be like, come on, you will love it. It actually reminds me of home, of my state, because of the geography, how, the land and everything and how beautiful it is. My state is a very beautiful state as well. And we have some very welcoming people here in West Virginia. We're a small state, kind of like Moldova's a small country. So I didn't know a whole lot going in. We say we were flying blind. And I was flying blind. I really didn't know what to expect.
Somebody's asking, say please a sentence in Romanian.
I don't know a sentence. I can understand. I can say, Merry Christmas. I will teach my students Merry Christmas. Is it Crăciun Fericit? Yes.
Yes.
I teach my students that we have at our school, we'll do Christmas around the world. And my class always takes Moldova. And they're like, why do you want, everybody else is taking like Paris or England or London or different places. And I'm like, no, I want Moldova. And I always get some candy when I'm in Moldova. And I will take in some candy. It's a little hard candy. It reminds me of some candy that we have here. And I will take it in and I take in some money to show them. When I'm there, I try to get some money so that I can give each one of my students a piece of Moldovan money because that's history to me. I like that sort of thing. So I will put it in a little plastic thing so they can keep it. I actually have one former student that tells me all the time he's going to go to Moldova with me someday. And I tell him all the time, okay, I'll take you. But we do Christmas around the world, and I will tell them about Moldova. And I've had some friends share some things about Christmas with us. They've just some videos, and I will share those with my students. And we learn how to say Merry Christmas in Romanian.
All right, so we have another question from one of the participants. Nina Pojocaru is asking, what suggestions could you offer for English teachers like her working with small children who have 7, 8 years old? Yeah.
I don't know. English is a hard language to learn because, and I tell my students, it's our native language, and they will say, well, why is it that way? Like if we're studying like how to make something plural, they'll say, well, why is that? And I'm like, look, it's the English language. It makes no sense. Like we have a little bit of everything and we made our own rules. I said, there's exceptions to every rule. And I'll say, well, that's just the rule. And they say, but not with this one. And I'm like, yes, I know. Just be patient is what I would say. Be very patient. It is difficult, but what I have learned, Moldovan students are very smart. That is another thing I've learned about Moldovans. They are very smart people, and they catch on to languages very fast. So I would just say use English as much as you can with them. And when you say something in English, then repeat it in Romanian or Russian, whatever your language is, whatever your native language is, so that they understand, oh, that is what that means. Sometimes I have said in class when I come back, when usually I will come to Moldova like July and August, and I come back right before our school starts. And when I go in class, when our students come in or something and they're being loud, I'll be like, go pee, go pee. And they'll be like, what? And I'll say, oh, children, children. And they'll say, I don't even know what you're saying. And I'll say, I know, because I've been used to like our translators saying, go pee, go pee. And so just say what it is in your language. Say it in English and then repeat it. And that way they do catch on quick. The younger they are like sponges and they will take in everything that you're saying. So I would say be patient. If I had some great words of wisdom to make it really easy for you, I would be glad to. We sound everything out. All of our letters have sounds, and we will say sound it out, like to our children when we're reading. We'll say sound that out, and usually they can sound out a word, and that's what I tell our students. We learn the alphabet first, and then that's how we'll say sound it out. That's how we learn it first. But some words they're just sight words. You just have to know them because they don't fit the phonetic sound. Like they don't fit how it should. So it's a crazy language.
Sanda is asking, what is your favorite Moldovan tradition? It's a hard one.
I don't know. I do like, and I don't know that it's a tradition or just something like some of these schools do, but like I like that this one high school I know, and it may be all high schools, I don't know. I do like that like everybody comes out on the first day of school and makes like a big deal about it. Even people that don't have kids in school, they will go and like and I'm like, why would you do that? And they're like, just to encourage them. And that is great because that shows that an education is important. When everybody's all excited about it, and then, hey, you're going back to school. And it could just be that parents are happy their kids are going to school all day. I don't know. But it makes them feel like, hey, this is a big deal. And, this education is important. I do like that. But I also like, in the States, we don't do a lot of the arts, like dancing and play like dramas and stuff in school. We're trying to make a comeback. We're trying to push the arts, but I do like this one school. They do a dance in the spring, and it's like they have to learn this dance, and they dress up and they dance like out front of the school, and like everybody in the community comes. Like that's pretty spectacular. Here we have like dances, but not really organized like that. Like you don't learn a dance and go do it. It's just people dress up and go, and a lot of times they just stand or sit and talk to each other. But I do like that. So unrelated question. Yes, I do have.
Somebody's asking if you have any pets. You told us you have a dog. Do you have any other pets? And what's your favorite one?
I have one dog. Her name is Sadie, and she was sitting at my feet, but she has since left. She's upstairs now. We call her crate. We have a crate for her so that when we leave, we put her in it so that she doesn't get into things that she shouldn't in the house. We call it her room. We'll say, let's go to your room. So that's where she's at right now. She actually loves it. But I have a little dog. Her name is Sadie, and she thinks she's a human. She goes a lot of places with us. When I go visit our kids in Kentucky, she goes with me, and she's just I spoil her a lot, especially since Jenny and Andy have moved out. I know that I've spoiled her. I've treated her like a human. I know this. And my husband says I have made it very difficult for him to take care of her when he's not here because she wants to sit on my lap all the time. And when I'm not here, she'll throw a fit like like a kid would, and she will roll in the floor and she will kick her legs up, and that's her way of saying she wants mom back. So she's my favorite. I want to say I love dogs. I love any kind of dog. So I like horses too. Oddly enough, I like horses and dogs. That's a lot. I like all animals. I like cows too. The more I think about it, I like cows and deer. They have pretty eyes, but I like animals. But yes, I do have one pet. Somebody
All
said
right.
the English language is beautiful. It is pretty. It's a pretty language, I guess. I'm used to it. So I think Romanian's pretty. I think Russian is it's interesting. I'll say it that way. Like it sounds harsh, but it's really not. Like I don't know. I like it. I like Russian.
Yeah, learning languages is truly amazing because it gives you the possibility to explore new cultures, and
Yes,
that's wonderful.
it
All right,
does.
so I have to admit I'm not really good at crafts, but I think I nailed it till the end
I
in
think you
the end.
did. I think
So if we did it, I think you can do it, and we hope you did the crafts with us. And I would like to say thank you so much, Julie, for accepting our invitation, for showing us, for telling the story. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, we encourage the teachers, the parents, use the story, use the craft in your home with your kids, at home with your kids, or at school. And yeah, especially for this time when we celebrate winter holidays.
yes.
So don't forget, tomorrow we have a Zoom session where you are going to have the possibility to cook with Julie. So we are waiting for you. You can find the event on America House Boats or on America House Chisinau Facebook page and register. You'll receive the Zoom link and join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. And yes, thank you so much once again. It was amazing to see you again, Julie.
Yes,
I
it was
think
good
that
to see you.
everyone who knows you from Moldova enjoyed, and we're happy to see you. So, and I'm looking forward for tomorrow as well.
Me too. Me too. Thank you for having me. I love doing things in Moldova even when I'm not there.
Thank you very much, Julie, for this amazing workshop. We are looking forward for tomorrow's workshop as well. So please register if you want to participate. It will be a Zoom session, so you'll be able to communicate with Julie straight away. So please register.
All right. I look forward to it.
Okay, then we are saying you to have a great and amazing evening. Thank you for staying with us till the end, and we are excited to see you tomorrow as well with us.